Hello and welcome to the penultimate round of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race in Live for Speed. The 2024 season finale is almost upon us, but before then we have Westhill Central Road Course 3 to contend with the LX4. That's tonight's action, and it's going to be 18 laps around this wonderful little track, which is an amalgamation of a couple of other layouts which we have shown in the past, but this one in its current form is new. 3.6 kilometers, 2.2 miles. As I mentioned, 18 laps around this 10-turn outfield Westhill track, which starts off with a nice short run down to a right-hander and goes underneath the first tunnel through into the paddock area, and a couple of more straights and hairpins to contend with, but relatively simple. However, we do have some tight and twisty sections to throw in there as well, so it's not all straightforward. As you can see, the previews in the background to show you what's to come. If you've not seen this track before, then you should enjoy tonight's action quite a lot, especially because it's going to be the LX4, which is notoriously difficult to handle, slightly twisty, slightly kind of like squirrely under the brakes, and quite difficult to keep in control sometimes if you're too overzealous with the loud pedal. Half a ton in weight, rear-wheel drive, 1.3 litre inline-4, front-engined configuration. This is one of my favourite cars in the for speed to race. It's absolutely brilliant. It's great to chuck around, and especially over the bumps and the dips, this thing behaves wonderfully. So the drivers are in for a little bit of a treat. As I mentioned, the season finale is just 2 weeks away on December 17th, and that's going to be at the one of the sprint tracks at South City with another of the impressive mods, and that's to be announced soon. So yeah, round 12 of 12 will be in 2 weeks' time, but tonight it's all about the Drivers' Championship standings. It's still technically up for grabs. The change in the lead could happen, but the actual possibility of that is incredibly slim, considering where Antti Valter has placed his car for qualifying this evening. He is leading the championship, and he has pole position ahead of tonight's event. Gabor, Unite, and Thamuni there in P2 to P4. Then we got Lorenzo, Asker, TJ, Rony, Mosmikari, and Magic rounding out your top 10 in the championship. And yeah, it's pretty much sealed. Antti Valter doesn't really need to do much wrong. He does need to finish. He needs to finish both these races. Just a couple of points is all he needs to secure the 2024 Season 2 Drivers' Championship standings for RTFR, and with it, the top prize as well. Sponsored, of course, by World Class Lions. The top 5 drivers are going to get prizes for their efforts this evening, and 66 of those drivers have competed so far this year, and there's still time to add a few names for to this list. So if you feel like joining for the finale in 2 weeks' time, then please do. We'd love to see you on the grid. But there we are. That's the story at the top. Antivalta versus Gabor, and Unite still technically able to win, but really, it's unlikely to go any other way than Antivalta. But never say never, especially in RTFR. When anything can happen, we will look forward to see how the racing ends up tonight. Let's take a look at the qualifying results. It is Valta on pole with a 144.2, 2/10 back to Gabor, Whitcardle and Unite. The three Sidus drivers there, very, very close together. However, it's Valta and Gabor who are stretching out some way in the lead, with Nozzle, Oscar, Lorenzo, Sufor, Thamuli and Rony, your top 10, with Rayman, Michael, Twincam, Zed, Matti, Pekka Koivunen, Teemu Soini, Magic, Senna BR, Cratch, Methanol, your top 20. And then 33 completes our list, but we have Jari Katila, Mika Sarkkinen, Gabri, Stephen Martin, Maldonado, Jay Martins, Nacho, Majesta, Mike JR, Pegasus, TR Jan, Hermani, and Real Iman YouTube, I guess, but he will not be allowed to start as that time is way, way outside the 110%. So, yeah, we will have 32 drivers on the grid for the start of this one. A couple of names missing, but we've got quite a good turnout tonight. And yeah, let's get this show on the road. The drivers will be readying up in just a few moments' time, and we are going to do 18 laps around the Westhill Central Road Course 3 in Live for Speed. The front row is definitely going to be the place to watch down into turn 1. Antivalta need just survive that and try to open up a bit of an advantage, and he will have a hopefully clean sailing to the end of the race as we head to the grid for the start. So here we are then, the drivers lined up on the grid, quite a lot of them, as I mentioned before, 32 drivers taking to the start of the race, and we are away. Front two make a really, really nice start, and there they go. All, in fact, only 29 drivers on the grid. We lost a couple, but it is immediately Antivalta getting muscled down, and Pekka Koivunen has had a bit of a spin. Oh, and there's a few drivers that have gone off at the back. We've got all sorts of carnage at the back of the grid. Unlikely to be a restart in RTFR. We don't tend to see it, but a number of drivers impacted and just about making their way through as we ride on board with Antivalta with his James Hunt helmet as he leads the way ahead there of Gabor through this tight sort of chicane at the end of the paddock section. We've got Jay Martins losing connection to the server, unfortunately, so potentially another casualty of the start of the race, but it is Antivalta doing just what he needed to do to win the Drivers' Championship standing. He just needs to stay ahead of Gabor. That's his only job. He has to score more points than Gabor today, and that the trophy will be his. As they go through the second tunnel. Top four, as in qualifying, have already pulled off quite a bit of a gap. We've got a huge pack of cars, 5 cars from P5 downwards, all trying to get the position. As we've got side-by-side action between Thamuli and who's that, Lorenzo. And it's Lorenzo who leads that little group now. Now Antivalta has got 3 Sidus drivers chasing after him. It's not a comfortable position to be in at all, but so far so good for Anti. And yeah, the top 4 when we go over start finish for the first time in this race as they sweep back down into the pit lane. Funnily enough, the race goes through the main Westhill pit lane, and they'll turn through that chicane one more time. Anti-leads, and we have a 2.5 second gap between Unite and Asker. So the top four opening up that gap. Nuzzle there, very, very close behind Asker actually. Oh, in fact, Asker's managed to get ahead, so Asker is now in P5. And here is Sufor. Sufor currently in P8. Newcomer to Rony's Tuesday Fun Race this year, but continuing to put on some good performances. Let's see what he can manage tonight. He's had some ups and downs, but let's see if this custom configuration using the support roads around the Westhill racetrack gives him any luck. As we've got Mad Jester and Mika Sarkinen side by side. Mika is live on Twitch and is providing us with his VR headset onboard camera. It's nice. But yeah, chasing down Mad Jester and trying to get back past. You can get him on Twitch at LG Meese. Pull that up on a second screen. But at the front, it's getting close between Rick Cardle and Gabor. Unlikely, really, that Rick Cardle will go for the move. He'll be aware, probably, of the championship standings. He will know, however, that Gabor doesn't really stand much of a chance if Valter finishes ahead of him. So potentially Rick Cardle may fancy an overtake here. Rick Cardle, of course, previous winner also of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race. Gabor won it last year as well. So some definite RTFR veterans at the front of this grid. As we ride on board the bonnet cam of Rick Cardle. And we'll see what this section of the track looks like. A little hop over the curb there. A few sleeping policemen lining the edge of the grass. And then unusually down the pit lane before taking the chicane just with a little bit of a lift. Not flat out, but a bit of a lift with the LX4. Coming up is a difficult braking zone into a tight right-hander that is off camber. The car goes light as you crest out, and then you have to get the power down as soon as you can when the road flattens out. As we've got Magic trying to get past Michael Malik. Michael Malik on the outside, Magic up the inside. Oh, sorry, other way around. And Magic goes through. Anti-Valter has opened up a 1.5 second lead now over Gabor, looking very, very comfortable. And I commented to Chris before we went live that Anti-Valter wants to do this the right way. He wants to win this thing. He wants to win it from the front. He doesn't want to win it on a technicality or a points gap. He wants to win it in the lead being the first across the line. He won't settle for anything less, so let's keep an eye on those guys while we find some action lower down. There's Ricciardo opening up the gap to his teammate Unite. These guys now 4 seconds up the road from Oscar. We've got Michael and Magic once again. Magic going up the inside. No, thinking about going up the inside on Michael. Oh, and Magic goes very wide, hits the wall. And that gives Michael some breathing room for at least a couple of corners. And Team Usoini closes in. As I mentioned in the pre-show, the LX4 in the for Speed is a brilliant little car. It's perfect for these sorts of open configuration tracks. Super agile, super nimble. Take anything you want to throw at it. As we've got Matey in a world-class line sandwich, having a look at Jari Katila, but being chased down at the same time by Pekka Koivunen. And you wouldn't want to be chased down by Pekka Koivunen. Pekka will be motivated to improve his position from where he currently is. As Sufor was having a look at Thamuli just a moment ago. And it looks like he might have another look in a couple of moments' time as well. Thamuli also providing us with an onboard. Live on Twitch at Thamuli_. So both of the, well, two of the Zafralis drivers that normally compete in RTFR have provided us with some on-stream footage for you. But Thamuli will be focusing ahead rather than worrying about any of that, because Sufor is chasing him down. Oh, there you go. Actually, as I said that, Thamuli uses his rear view to spot a look at Sufor. So Sufor playing the psychological game. But actually that gap has now opened up, and Rick Cardle, I'm hearing in my ear from Chris, thank you, has spun and has lost a place to his teammate. Unite has got ahead of him. So Rick Cardle with an uncharacteristic mistake, spinning out and now dropping down to P4. But has a better exit than Unite. I don't think he's close enough to get the position back, is he? No, I don't think so. But that means that Gabor has less to think about. Doesn't have to think about his teammate. Only has to think about Antti Valter. What can Gabor do to overcome Antti today? It's going to be a tall order, as Nozzle has got back past Oscar. So it's a change of position there as well. Change for P5. Oscar will want that back in earnest. Lorenzo sort of on his own, but then it's Thamuli, and yeah, he has opened up the gap to Sufor. Very comfortable. And Sufor has the sole, well actually not sole, there's two of them, Born to Race twin cam behind him. Rayman's down there in P14 as well. But Thamuli is adding daylight to the gap between himself and Sufor now, so that looks pretty safe. Here's Rony. Driving around in an unmistakably bright livery. And trying to catch up to Twin Cam, who himself has unmistakably bright rims. Bright green. So after 7 laps of racing, as we go on to lap 8, it's Antti Valter who leads by 3 seconds over Gabor. That is the championship order as well. Antti Valter need only score a handful of points tonight to secure the Drivers' Championship win. And finishing in P1 ahead of Gabor will solidify that result for him, and he'll be crowned the 2024 Season 2 Rony's Tuesday Fun Race champion. But never saying it. It's not. Yeah, it's too early to say anything now. We need to wait a few more laps before we can say that. Rick Cardle in P3, and Unite now has been passed again by his teammates. So Rick Cardle has got back past Unite. Then it's Nozzle, followed by Oscar, and you can see how much these two have closed up to Rick Cardle and Unite with the kind of pace of Unite, and the mistake by Rick Cardle has allowed them to close up a little bit. Then it's Lorenzo in P7, the Mooley in P8 with Sufor going over the curb behind them and dropping back closer to Twin Cam, who would surely like to make up a place. And you won't have to ask him twice either, he will just go for the move. Here we've got Matey going for a move on Crash. It's going to be a move up the inside. And he goes through. Matey makes the move up to P18. As Antivalta makes his way through a back marker. That's Pegasus, who's got a lot of damage to the front of his car. A lot of damage, in fact. The front left has been pushed back quite a lot, so that's going to be quite difficult to drive. And here comes Gabor. Oh, Gabor absolutely clouts the curb and has to correct that. Pegasus lets Gabor through, nice and simple. And now Hermione is being lapped there by Rick Cardle and now Unite. And Sufor is being overtaken then by Twin Cam. No, Sufor with the outside line, the favourable outside line around there. And in the meantime, Magic has managed to get past Michael going through the tunnels. So change your position here as well. So Sufor holds on for now, but how long for? Twin Cam dropped back a little bit after looking excited just a minute ago, but plenty of laps left. We'll be halfway through the race at the end of this lap, which is about to happen right now. Antivalta is storming towards start finish. There he goes. 4.5 seconds later, Gabor comes across the line. So fantastic pace at this stage of the race from Valter, doing everything he needs to do. And here is Gabor. And Rick Cardle and Unite. As we switch to Methanol, who is chasing down Mika. The rear camera from Mika looking back towards Methanol. Mika slightly wide. But Methanol also losing a little bit of time with that sort of semi-drift. Let's see if Twin Cam can finally get past Sufor. Side by side over start finish, nothing between them. Our timing says that Sufor was narrowly ahead, but now Twin Cam takes the position into the roundabout. Up to P9 then for Twin Cam. And Sufor will have to find something pretty special to get back past, as we've got Matey catching up to Pekka Koivunen up to start finish. Pulls to the inside. And Pekka Koivunen actually lifts off, lets him have the place. And Matey able to push on now. There's their confirmation on your timing tower that Twin Cam is indeed in P9 now, with Sufor eagerly following. It looks like Gabor's wind has gone from his sails. The gap now 6.5 seconds to Antti-Valter. A brilliant display from Antti tonight. And don't forget, he's also 13 seconds ahead of Rick Cardle after his spin. 16 seconds from Unite. So a great showing from our championship leader and soon to be champion if things end this way. As Mad Jester there overtakes Soini. Bit of contact with these two. Mad Jester using his elbows to get through. As we've got Methanol on Mies, and again there's contact. And Methanol is through. And you can see that the rear right of Methanol's car has had bells knocked out of it. And as the laps tick down, we are getting ever closer to that moment where we might be able to crown our champion. But there are lots and lots and lots of trip hazards around this track. Super easy to make a mistake, drop a wheel on the grass, and pretty much all be over. There's catch fences and walls, lamp posts, signs, all sorts to catch you, and those things will end your race. They'll cause way too much damage to the tiny frame of the LX4 and those exposed front wheels. But no such issues so far for Valter. If you were tuned into last night's Zafralis All-Rounder Championship action, you'll know that Thamuli has just been announced as champion of that series. The 12th and final round was last night, and Thamuli won the championship by quite a margin. He finds himself in P8 today after a strong series. Has put him in the top 5 in the overall championship. Solid results throughout the year. And a nice way to wrap up the year, I'm sure. Today was the 11th pole position for Antti-Valter, and he's got 9 race wins so far. Let's see if he can get a 10th today. Mika's having another look at Methanol on the inside. Into turn... Oh, which turn is this? 7? And he's through. Back up to P20 then. As we go down underneath the bridge, there's another timing line under here. There it is. And back up to 20th place for Mika. As the laps continue to tick down, Methanol looking like he wanted to place back, but there was no room for him there. Too far back in the end. And here is Gabor. He's driven a strong season, but Anti-Valter has been so much more consistent this year. Consistent qualifying, consistent race results. And just in the end, it looks like it's going to be too much for Gabor to win this year. Ooh, hard over the curb, pushing with absolutely everything. The car sideways pretty much between those two corners. But that's the brilliance of the LX4. It will just bend to your will. You can do whatever you want with it. A great little machine. Here's Twin Cam in a comfortable P9, having passed Sufor a few laps ago. Sufor finds himself a comfortable P10 ahead of Rony. But Rony would like a P10, I'm sure. Lap 15 of 18, 4 to go, including this one. Valter's countdown has begun. Can't relax yet though. The job is not finished. And his main competitor is right behind him. Though the gap is now almost 9 seconds. Here, it looks like Lorenzo fancies his chance on Asker. He's gone up the inside, he's braked very, very late. Ooh, and there wasn't contact, but Asker had to leave him space. A little bit of contact, a tiny clip, but Lorenzo has gone through. And he has to give some credit to Asker there. Asker saw him coming, left the space, and in the end, the contact was minor, and didn't really disrupt either of their races. Behind those two, it's Thamuli now, who is clear of Twin Cam. The two M's, Magic and Michael, close together with Rayman there. Tucked in behind, didn't see him there. And Rayman is going to watch as Magic goes up the inside on Michael. Oh, in fact, no, he fancied a move himself. 3 of them go into turn 9 together. And well, it's Magic now leading Michael. I'm sure that's going to change again by the time the lap ends. Or at the very least, he'll give it a good go. But here they come down the main straight. Yeah, Rayman's dropped back ever so slightly. As, Michael trying to go around the outside into the roundabout. They make contact. That's going to open it up for Rayman. Oh, not quite. Well, this is good action. It's so late in the race. Don't tend to see that happening, but clearly people are desperate for positions. So Magic leading Michael and then Rayman. But they risk being caught by Mad Jester, and we know what Mad Jester will do if he gets a whiff of a position. He won't hesitate to just go for it, as Rayman's trying to line himself up for some sort of pass, but Michael and Magic are making it quite difficult. So action right down to the wire, right down to the end of the race. And now 2 laps to go for our race leaders. Almost 10 seconds between Gabor and Antti. Not up there with the all-time gaps, but if you had to pick 2 drivers who would have a 10-second gap at the end of the race, you probably wouldn't have picked Valtteri and Gabor. Oh, as Rayman makes a bit of an error. Doesn't lose any places because of it, but back to my previous point, opening up a 10-second gap on Gabor is no mean feat, so Valtteri has done an excellent job this evening. And as these guys come up to start-finish, we will pick Valtteri up with 3 corners to go in this race. Here's turn 8. A little bit of a lift under the tunnel, and then up to the top of the hill at turn 9. Sorry, turn 9 here. And then 1 to go. A little bit of traffic to contend with, but shouldn't be a problem. And here we go then, just one more circuit of the one more circuit to go for Antti Valter. Onto the final lap. So we don't want anything particularly outstanding on this lap. We just want to see him come across the line. But it doesn't look like he's slowing down. 10.5 seconds. The gap to Gabor. And a little bit of traffic to contend with. Always a little bit scary on the final lap of the race when you're leading. But everybody in RTFR knows the drill these days. Shouldn't be any drama. Through he goes. Through turn 7. Up to turn 8. 2 to go. And with Mika Sarkkinen just ahead, Valter can begin to taste the champagne, because what a season it's been for him. One more corner and no drama on the exit, and we can crown the Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Season 2 of 2024 champion. He weaves to the line, and deservedly so, across the line to take the victory in round 11 and the overall championship. Antti Valter, ladies and gents. And across the line comes Gabor for a well-deserved P2, 10 seconds adrift in the end. And then it's Rick Cardle who takes 3rd place. So the top 3, all previous Rony's Tuesday Fun Race champions. But Valter is the newest name to join the long list of past winners. As the donuts begin down in the paddock area, while we wait for a few more finishers, there is a podium that's been set up just by the start-finish line. It's just out of the camera shot here, but through the magic of television, we can switch to it. So Valter will make his way up onto victory lane. So while everyone else finishes, Antti Valter hopefully will make his way to the podium. It's been quite nicely assembled. It looks quite nice. It's waiting for him. Once the donuts are finished, hopefully they will make their way over to there. as the last couple of finishers are coming over, and there you can see that Walter has entered the pit lane one more time. And up onto victory lane he goes. Your winner for round 11 and overall 2024 Season 2 champion, Antti Valter. Very, very well deserved. There are the final standings. Final race results. In 31 minutes, Antti Valter wins over Gabor and Rick Cardle. That is your podium. With Unite, Nozzle, Lorenzo, Asker, Thamuli, Twincam and Sufor rounding out the top 10. Next, we've got Rony himself in P11 with Magic, his teammate, finishing in P12. Then we've got Michael Malik, Rayman, Mad Jester, Matey, Timo Soini, Pekka Koivunen, Cratch and Methanol, your top 20. Over on the second page, we've got Mika Sarkinen under the pseudonym of LG Mies, followed by Jari Katila, Pegasus, Hermani, your 24 finishers. And then, unfortunately not finishing this evening, Gabri, Stephen Martin, TR, Jan, 60, Nacho and Jay Martins. 29 classified drivers, with Antti Valter taking the fastest lap as well as all the other accolades. Fastest lap, pole and the race win. The hat-trick for Antti Valter, a 1:44.68. Mega effort. And let's leave you with pictures of Valter on the podium, because, well, he's done everything he needs to do to win one round from the end. The next round that we have will be in 2 weeks' time, the finale of this year's championship, with the impressive JGT at South City Sprint 1, with a little race screen events flair that's been added to it. So we'll wait in earnest to see that in 2 weeks' time. 38 laps we're going to get around there, so that's going to be a pretty interesting race for sure. But yeah, that is all we have time for this evening. Thanks everyone very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the coverage of RTFR once again. Owen will return for the finale. He was out watching some football this evening, so we hope he had a good time, and I'm sure he can't wait to get back to join us all for the RTFR Season 2 of 2024 finale. From all of us here at Sim Broadcast, you have a great evening, and we'll see you at the next one. Good night.